Hello, fellow members of the Midnight Society. Welcome back to another episode review from the show Are You Afraid of the Dark? Last time, we covered the tale of train magic, Frank's final story. One about a boy whose obsession with trains almost dooms him to an eternity of train derailments. Tonight's narrative is a new member entry submission by a friend of Tucker's about a teen who discovers a hidden pool at his school with a dark past. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, I call this Season 5, Episode 1, The Tale of the Dead Man's Float. We open on Gary lighting the fire and saying that tonight is one of those meetings that he has mixed feelings about.
It's sad because Frank's family moved and we've lost one of our members.
Yeah, right. It's unfortunate that Frank's family moved away just as he was starting to make some progress with Sam. A little convenient, wouldn't you say, Gary? Look, I've been keeping a little project to myself, but I just can't anymore, and I don't care how crazy it makes me look. Welcome to my murder board, everyone. Now, as you can see, I have postulated that Gary is not just the leader of the Midnight Society, but a violent sociopath who murders at will to get what he wants. It all started with Eric. Now, in Gary's defense, that was a group killing, right? Eric was a dick, and they all offed him and vowed to never talk about it again. But you see, Gare Bear got a taste for it and couldn't go back. Now, somewhere along the way, Gary secretly started having feelings for Kristen, knowing full well that David was interested. When his magic shop and super spec charms didn't work, and David was starting to get bolder with his courtship, he and Kristen suddenly moved away. Or did they? I put it to you that they did not. Gary killed them both and hid them in the woods, okay? Then comes along Sam. Sam isn't like Kristen. She's feisty and tells good tales, and Gary realizes that he never liked Kristen at all, but he sure did like killing her. Yeah. Sam becomes the sole object of Gary's obsession. And at first, things are great, right? She hates Frank and she's sweet on the Gare Bear. But then, what's this? Frank starts acting like a human being, and Sam starts softening to Frank? Bam! Right? The return of Scary Gary, okay? And now, Frank is slowly decomposing in the same hole as David and Kristen, right? And the best part of all is he totally got away with it. You all think he's just a mild-mannered weatherman now, but that's just a front. He's a maniacal meteorological murderer. Sorry. I think reality and fiction just started to blur the lines a little bit there. Look, I just painted in here, so the fumes are probably getting to me. So, what do you say we forget this ever happened, and I'll let's just go back to the fire. Yeah. Okay. Tucker is the one bringing in the potential new member, and if he's a friend of Tucker's, then I'm probably going to hate him. Yeah. So, who is our mystery guest?
Hi, babe.
No. Anyone but Stig.
Two things. First off, Stig? Was the writer a fan of Top Gear or something? And second, oh no, he did not! You don't go putting your greasy lips on ladies' faces unprompted. You're lucky Kiki didn't grind your twig and berries into campfire dust. Based on Kiki's outrage, Gary says that he doesn't know about this one, and Tucker says to give him a chance. And Stig also comes to his own defense.
This is about telling a good story, winning a popularity contest.
Shows what you know. It's both, motherfucker. Ask Eric.
Boss.
No one seems happy about it, but they let him stay to tell his story. Now, knowing that he's on thin ice, Stig immediately starts ingratiating himself to the group.
That's my sweater.
What? The log is wet.
Easy there, buddy. If Sam doesn't kill you, Gary definitely will at the end of the season. Stig starts the preamble to his story.
A lot of people don't like the way I am. They're always telling me I gotta clean up my act. But sometimes, things are the way they are for a reason.
I beg to differ. There's no viable reason one has to be or stay a douchebag. That behavior should be changed immediately.
You could end up with a whole mess of trouble.
Stig's tale opens in 1954 on our main character, Joe. Okay, someone other than our main character, played by a young Jay Baruchel, or as we called him on the streets, Baby Baruchel, or Baby B to his homies. He is at the pool and looks hesitant to jump in. He calls to the lifeguard Charlie and asks if it's okay, to which Charlie replies, sorry, wrong clip. Didn't mean to spoil the surprise, but this is what Charlie says so he can go do that.
Yes. Just be careful.
Okay, I've seen Friday the 13th, so I know this doesn't end well. The only question is who starts killing all the lifeguards after Joe dies? A disfigured zombie-like adult baby bee? Or his vengeful mother, Mrs. Bearshell? Also known as Mama Bee in certain circles.
Logical.
Anyway, we've all seen how the scene ends. Okay, Joe gets attacked by the same underwater camera from Jaws. When he cries out, Charlie stops looking for the gum he lost down Cindy's throat to go do his job, but as we all already know, he is a terrible lifeguard. Who taught you how to dive into a pool? Did you click your heels together when you jumped in? You're a lifeguard, not auditioning for the Wizard of Oz.
You want me to leave?
We transition to present day where we meet our main character, ? Look, I've already been burned by this episode. The first guy drowned, this guy's playing with a volcano, so maybe blows his face off, and then we meet a third candidate in the future where the story actually takes place. I just don't know anymore.
Apparently your calculations were a little flawed.
Thanks, Mr. Brooks. I'll try harder in the future. Wait. Is that Ichabod Crane from the Tale of the Midnight Ride? It sure is. Hey, wait. And the outside shot of the school is also, it's the same school from the Tale of the Midnight Ride. So, okay, here's my theory, okay? Ichabod finally got tired of getting killed year after year, and then went back and took the path that Ian gave him again, allowing him to break the curse of ghostly immortality, right? He then took on the role of mild-mannered Mr. Brooks, teaching at the school of his favorite student, Ian. Which also means, with all the paranormal activity and shenanigans going on, that this school is really starting to look like it's sitting on a hellmouth.
What?
Anyway, Ichabod is mad that Zeke's volcano experiment had a much bigger explosion than anticipated. He leaves the classroom to get the custodian, and we see two girls watching Zeke clean up his mess.
I think he's cute. Like a puppy you want to take care of.
More like a puppy you have to clean up after.
These two ladies are Greta and Clarice. One is destined to be Zeke's love interest, and the other a jilted prankster. The truth of which one is which will shock you. Or not. I mean, it's a 50-50 guess, so it's probably not going to knock your socks off. Anyway, Greta wants to go help Zeke, but Clarice says forget it. Greta isn't taking no for an answer, though, and gets physical with Clarice as if to say, do it! They approach Zeke to ask him what happened, to which he answers,
if you mix manganite with water, the reaction is always the same. Kaboom.
Class lets out, and the custodian, Charlie, arrives to clean up.
Charlie can do this, Zeke.
Charlie? Like Raiders of the Lost Tonsils Charlie from the opening of the episode? Anyway, before Clarice can leave, Zeke approaches her and uses a classic line from pretty much any aquatically themed adult film.
You're on the swim team, right?
Yeah, so?
Well, I'd like to show you something I think you might find interesting.
Clarice is not interested, but Zeke finally convinces her by accidentally offending her.
Well, that's no fun.
Fun? You're telling me what's fun?
And in a fit of elation, Zeke bumps into something, knocking a molecular model down, and when he fails to put it back, he just steals it. How are you not into this bad boy, Clarice? Is it the glasses? Because if late 90s teen rom-coms have taught us anything, it's that you just get him some contacts and let his hair down and he'll be the hottest girl in school. The next day at the school gym, Zeke shows Clarice his big secret. Did Steve Rogers here already take the super soldier serum? Or are those lockers on rollers? There is no way he would have been able to move that. And if he could, how was that door not discovered years ago when the lockers got blown over by just the air conditioning being set to high?
It was no accident.
The kids find, presumably, the pool from the opening looking long closed. Zeke tells Clarice that he looked into it and it was built in the 1950s but only used for a short time. Clarice wants to push to get it reopened because she currently has to drive an hour to practice for the swim team. Wait. The girl who likes to swim is named Clarice. Did you guys like high five yourselves because of how clever you thought you were that it sounds like chlorine? I expect better.
Ouija, it's a kiddie ride.
We've been seeing each other for what? Like a long time now, right?
There's a ton going on in the world, Day-Day.
Oh, back off, champ.
Okay, maybe not. Zeke doesn't think the school will reopen the pool, but Clarice stops him mid-sentence to say,
Excuses are for people who never get things done, understand?
why do I feel like she just turned into her mother? And why do I feel like that only made Zeke more interested? Anyway, Clarice thanks Zeke for showing her the pool, and he tries to carry that momentum forward.
Hey, maybe we can get together sometime.
Don't push it.
Ouch! Been there, Zeke, but never in that outfit. Anyway, as Zeke and Clarice leave, we get this odd shot. Was he just watching them the whole time like a custodial creeper? And did he see the thing under the tarp? Because immediately after that shot, he's gone from the scene. Is Charlie a ghost? No. No, he can't be. I mean, everyone saw him earlier, and Ichabod referred to him by name. Well, anyway, we transition to a few weeks later where the pool is now in full use. Stig gives us some voiceover to say that Clarice got into everyone's faces at the school to pressure them into reopening it. After all, as her mother would say,
Excuses are for people who never get things done, understand?
Greta and Clarice are chatting inside the pool when we start seeing the Jaws cam underwater again, and the girls notice a strange smell. It's the same smell that Baby B noticed before he got pulled under at the start of the episode. Now, the Jaws cam ignores some perfectly viable targets to go after our main characters, but before anything bad can happen, the girls get out of the pool to avoid the smell. Sometime later in science class, Clarice gets a C- on a test and says that if she doesn't get her grade in the class up, she'll be kicked off the swim team. Zeke, being the stand-up hero that he is, offers his services.
Maybe I could tutor you. Chemistry is kind of my subject.
What's in it for you?
My favorite part of this scene is Greta in the background with her WTF, I already claimed him face. I totally pegged her for the love interest and Clarice as the one who hates Zeke the entire episode, based on similar setups that we've seen in past episodes, so this was a refreshing surprise. Later on, we find out what Zeke wants in return for his help. Oh yeah, skinny dipping, baby!
You ever teach anyone to swim before?
Or that. It's actually more sensible and on brand with what we've seen from Zeke so far. We learn that Zeke is deathly afraid of the water. He opens up about his fear, stating that when he was little, he got his foot tangled up in a pond and almost drowned. His brother saved him, but
ever since I've had this feeling that there's something down there, waiting, because I cheated it once.
Okay, that was a little much. We get it. He's afraid of the water, and there's a water monster in the pool. We don't need him also prophesying his own doom on top of it. Anyway, Clarice hops in the water to show him that there's nothing under there, only for this to happen.
Now try...
Clarice! Clarice!
It turns out it was a prank by Greta, but I ask you this. Is Greta a mermaid? Because if she showed up while they were in the pool, they would have noticed, and I highly doubt she was under the water holding her breath since before they got there. Great jump scare, but it loses points on plausibility. Anyway, we get to see the real-time meltdown of Clarice and Greta's friendship.
I thought you didn't like puppies.
He's helping me with chemistry.
Yeah, right.
Clarice tries to calm Zeke down after the excitement, and it seems to be working until...
Like acid.
And Zeke was boiled to death in a pool of acid. Oh, I gotta tell you, Stig, great story. I love the incredibly graphic way you dispatched our hero. He's still alive? Ugh. Fine. After Clarice pulls him out of the pool, Zeke says that something grabbed him. Clarice says there is nothing in there, and then...
What was that? What's happening?
It's trying to dump us!
Oh, heck yeah! This lazy river just got kicked into a roaring rapids ride. Let's go! The teens are pulled from the pool by Charlie, who delivers some exposition about our pool monster.
Nobody believed me until 3 more people drowned. They closed down the pool. People forgot all about it.
Clarice says that no one is going to believe them until someone else gets hurt, but Zeke thinks there's a way to level the playing field.
It smells, remember?
Like rotten eggs.
Like acid.
Okay, nerd, then you would know that the smell of rotten eggs is actually sulfur, and the only acid that would have that smell is sulfuric acid. Not an acid you would normally find in or around a pool. Sulfuric acid doesn't play well with your standard pool acids like muriatic acid, and also has its own unique exothermic interactions with water. If your pool monster is made of sulfuric acid, you'd have this weird discolored mass of heat moving around the pool, possibly turning green and creating gases from its interaction with the muriatic acid. Sorry, I worked as a pool cleaner for a few years back in my youth.
I doubt it.
Anyway, Zeke says that methyl orange should turn the monster red if it's made from acid. He then pours some into the pool and it starts to work. Good thing that monster was lurking right where you poured that small sample size into the massive pool. Whatever. Let's see the lame-looking monster. Probably another derpy-looking puppet like we saw in the Tale of the Hatching. What in the actual f***? This is a kid's show, for Christ's sake! No! No! Is it off the screen? I'm not coming back till it's off the screen. Okay. All right. Everything's fine. Look, I'm just gonna take 5 to get a clean pair of pants because I just had my own chemical reaction.
We're gonna do a little experiment.
You can't go from this at the end of season 4 to this at the start of season 5. I mean, you gotta ease people into that sort of monster makeup. You probably gave kids heart attacks and full-time therapists. Anyway, the monster attacks, and Zeke tries to take it down himself, but only ends up getting an awful visual effect out of the deal. Zeke, Clarice, and Charlie flee to the locker room. Zeke realizes the monster is made of water. Thought it was sulfuric acid, Zeke, which is also often used as a water remover, so I would say that your theory doesn't hold much of it. It doesn't hold much water. You get it? Because sulfuric acid removes the Science nerds will get it.
Fair enough.
Charlie goes into shock, and while the others are trying to wake him, the monster sneaks into the room in a grotesque scene that's reminiscent of something you might see in Stephen King's It.
Oh no.
After Zeke and Clarice run away, Zeke says that he doesn't know how to stop the monster, but Clarice, who has been picking up some science from Zeke's one afternoon of tutoring, gets an idea.
It's made of water, right? What's your recipe? Mix water with manganite and kaboom. Lava surprise?
I mean, the science so far has been a bit dodgy, but I'm just gonna go with it. Clarice goes to open the container, but Zeke quickly knocks it out of her hand and into the pool. When she asks why, he says,
There's moisture on your hands, it'll burn you.
I mean, if there was going to be a reason for knocking the MacGuffin into the scary place, that's a pretty good one. Clarice dives into the pool to get it. Ha! Now you see that, Charlie? That's how you dive into a pool. While she's under the water, we get treated to another excellent monster transition, this time reminiscent of the Blob. Zeke shouts to Clarice, who initially can't hear him because, you know, she's underwater. For a smart guy, Zeke, that's the dumbest thing you've done this episode. Upon surfacing, Clarice sees the monster, and even though it is moving slower than the scarecrow in the Tale of the Silent Servant, she becomes frozen by fear. As the monster approaches, Zeke overcomes his own fear and jumps in to save her.
Get out of there, swim!
The distraction changes the monster's focus to Zeke, allowing Clarice to get out of the pool. Just as the monster is about to get Zeke, he is pulled clear by Charlie, who is snapped out of his panic coma. Panic coma? Panic coma. Panic coma? Panic coma. Panic coma. Sounds like an Italian dessert. Anyway, so Clarice gets some safety gloves and gives the monster a taste of manganite, which dissolves him, leaving behind the fresh scent of, well, probably acid and chlorine. The tale ends with a voiceover from Stig saying that the monster never bothered anyone again and that Charlie was no longer tortured by his memories. Which seems unlikely, unless he gets professional help. That's really not how memories work, but I guess we're going with the super mega happy ending.
Clarice figured it was okay to be a science geek. And she showed Zeke there were a lot more fun things to do than study all the time.
I mean, I know they're only like 15 or whatever, but you think he's talking about sex? And I know you're probably asking yourself, Mike, why are you spelling it? We're all adults here. Yeah, but that's in case there's any 15-year-olds watching. I mean, everybody knows they can't spell.
Why not?
Does anyone else feel bad for Greta? I mean, she liked Zeke for who he was, not because he taught her to kill monsters with science. I like to imagine that Greta killed both Zeke and Clarice with good old-fashioned murder right after this scene, but then again, I'm a romantic. The tale ends and the Midnight Society votes on Stig's story. Well, if Phantom Cab got Frank in, Watchers Woods got Sam in, and Tucker got in by ripping off Washington Irving, then, Stig's gotta be a shoo-in.
The vote has to be unanimous, and it wasn't.
I see. So, Kiki said nay, huh? Can't say I blame her. If the powder liquor here had kissed me at the start of the meeting, I would have also downvoted him, regardless of whether he told a great story or not. Anyway, the gang says they're going to give him another shot, and depending on how it goes, he might be in. He says that he can handle that, and then the episode ends with...
Then handle a shower.
Now for the review. Well, if I said I didn't like this one, I'm pretty sure I'd be burned in the streets. While I do have a couple of criticisms, I think I should be able to avoid being lit on fire in the comments. This episode features some good casting, a basic story, some great creature makeup, and a number of shots inspired by other movies.
You say that like it's a good thing.
The settings were pretty good. While we've seen the school setting plenty of times on this show, the pool was a new addition, and unlike the previous episode that barely filmed on the train set, we are in and around the pool constantly in this episode. My favorite scenes were the ones at the pool at night when all the lights were dimmed. It really set the mood.
If this is your big surprise, I've seen it already.
The story. It's not a great story, nor is it bad. It's just a story about a nerd trying to catch the eye of a girl he likes. It's serviceable enough to get us to the monster. I don't think we needed the baby bear shell opening, though. I think there would have been more mystery if our protagonist just opened the episode and found the closed pool. Get to the pool opening faster and feature a couple more instances of weird stuff happening in and around the pool that people blame on the creepy custodian who's always hanging around and lurking, And that way, when he turns up later to help the kids, it's a nice twist. Also, I'm a sucker for a backstory. I would have loved a scene in a library or something like that learning about our angry spirit. Maybe something that reveals he was a criminal or something like that in life. Because to me, a trapped spirit isn't necessarily an evil one. And also, is it strange to anyone else that there was a cemetery directly adjacent to the gymnasium? No? Just me? Okay, that's not the point. That's not the point, all right? This guy, right? He wasn't so bad. He just wanted his body out from under that pool, and sure, a few people died in the process. He didn't know any better. There wasn't a pool there when he was buried. How was he to know they'd drown? He was just trying to talk to him. And what happens? He gets his eternal soul destroyed by manganite for his efforts. Doesn't seem fair to me.
I'm sorry, I didn't expect the reaction to be so intense.
The scares. Are you f***ing kidding me? Hands down, the best creature makeup in the history of the show. I mean, I'll even say that I think that makeup would hold up in a modern horror movie made for adults. Yeah. I also love the idea of the pool chemicals being used to justify the red creature, because there is no way TV censors would have allowed a bloody creature like that in a kid's show. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Aside from just having a great monster to work with, DJ also did a great job of using the underwater shots a la Jaws, as well as not showing the monster right away, which is really what made that movie work so well. The other creative choices used to show the creature moving around in liquid form were also top tier. The only thing that I could have done without was the digital shot of the pool skimmer going through the monster.
It could be worse.
The acting in this episode was excellent. I won't be addressing young Charlie and Cindy, mainly because I'm pretty sure there was no actual acting going on in that makeout scene, if you know what I mean. Baby B was fine, but he's also barely in the episode. Greta was terrific, and the character that I felt the most for. I mean, you believed every emotion coming out of her, from her enamor to her angry jealousy. Clarice was great as our standoffish heroine who softens to our hero by the end, and Zeke was an outstanding nerd. I don't think he gets a lot of room for character growth, but that's not the actor's fault and is mostly due to the short runtime.
I just miscalculated the ratio.
The adult acting in this episode was also good. You really felt the pain in Charlie's face when he's giving the exposition dump about the pool closure. I'd also love to talk about the monster's performance, but the actor was completely covered up by prosthetics and the costume. They were physically intimidating, and I do give them props for having to wear that getup while filming in a pool.
Come on, give him a chance.
Stig, while I found you as repulsive as Kiki does, I'm going to say that the tale of the dead man's float definitely meets the approval of the Midnight Society. The Midnight Society members poll on this one was, at the time of recording this video, with 173 votes, a whopping 97% in favor of, with only 3% against, which makes this the most liked episode so far. And Stig didn't get in. Oh, I guess it is just a popularity contest after all.
Thanks for the shot.
I want to thank the following Midnight Society members for participating in this video's poll, but I can't because I just found a major list of Gare Bear's other victims. To the murder board! No, there's just so many of them. There's just, how could he do this? Gary, you monster! I will not stop. I will not rest until Gary is brought to justice and all of these names are avenged. No. No. I can't look. What did you all think of Stig's story? Did you see it as a kid? Would you try to drown your friend in a pool if they accidentally stole the nerd you were pining for? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to check out the next episode on the Tale of the Jagged Sign. Until then, are you afraid of the dark?
Excuses are for people who never get things done, understand?
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and a share. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you all next time. I won't physically see you all, but spiritually. I will see you all spiritually next time.